Okay, it's 8 o'clock, so we'll get started. I'll call the Whitley County Redevelopment Commission regular meeting, January the 14th, 2025. At this time, call it to order and do roll call. Theresa Baysinger,
Present.
Mike Schrader,
Here.
Frank Kessler,
Present.
John Myers,
Here.
Jill Western,
Here.
and I'm here. Okay, we need to do an election of officers. This time I'll open it up for our nominees.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Kim Wheeler for president for this year.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and second. Any other ones?
Move nominations be closed.
Okay. At this time, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of I staying as president, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the same. Vice President.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Frank Kessler for another term as vice president of the commission.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further ones? Not? Then we'll close it at this time. All them in favor of Frank staying on as vice president, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Open it up for secretary.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Michael Schrader as secretary.
Second.
Okay, any other ones? If not, we'll close it. At this time, all them in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we got broadband update.
Well, yeah, and actually, Steve is here from SURF, which is nice, but again, just to reiterate, we kind of hit a pause on the Lakeland project. Not saying it won't go away, only because SURF is really stepping up here on some of the conversations we've had with them. Again, people who did the speed test and whatnot, and got on the state's site for available grants and whatnot. SURF is gonna try and take care of as many of those people as possible. And I'll let Steve kind of speak to what SURF's plans are in Whitley County.
Yeah, do you mind if I?
Yeah, come on.
That's great.
Thank you. Thanks, Dale. Again, Steve Carringer, I'm with Surf Internet. So we've utilized several different several different programs, as well as our private investment, to build out broadband in Whitley County. So through private investment, we've built all of Columbia City, Cherubusco, South Whitley, Larwill, and Blue Lake. We are actively using the Indiana Connectivity Program, ICP, as a means of outreach to individual households and agribusinesses for them to connect their locations with an individual grant. So then SURF or another provider bid on that. So in Whitley County, we have about 2,000 addresses, about 2,200 through different rounds of the ICP program that we've connected. And the next program that for rural broadband is BEAD, which is a federal program. There's $868 million set aside for Indiana for that program. And we have, I believe, 14 counties in northern Indiana that we're pursuing as far down as Madison County. And so for the BEAD program in Whitley County specifically, SURF looked at every single BEAD eligible address. So this would be very rural addresses within the county. And we came up with, let me see here, there are 3,227 addresses. We plan to cover essentially all of those, except for in the most southeastern portion of the county, There's Comcast is built into those areas. And in the northwestern portion of the county is LigTel, has built down into kind of the Crooked Lake area and up northwest there. I've already spoken to LigTel, and then my associates in my company have also been in touch with Heartland REMC to the south of Whitley County and Kosciuszko County REMC, because along the, we bid on census blocks, and a census block is usually divided in 99% of the cases, the census block is divided by a road. So for us to get something that's on the county line, on Kosciuszko County, there's no sense in Kosciuszko County building on one side of the road and us building on the other side of the road when there may be 4 homes on that mile stretch. So we'll coordinate with those friendly providers, those local providers, to find out how best we can serve those areas. But where the rubber hits the road really in Whitley County are the 3,200 addresses, and I'll show you here. I'm sorry I don't have a real presentation. But this is essentially the entire county. Every area that's not already served by broadband, and then of course the aforementioned northwestern corner and southeastern corner of the county, we would cover with fiber optic. We're not talking wireless, we're talking fiber optic internet. And so I don't know any conversations that have happened previously with Dale, maybe about property tax easement agreements or waivers that may be available to us. But if that were considered by the commission, then what SURF can do is take those dollars that would be allocated for our property tax burden, we can allocate that towards our local in-kind match, which helps our scoring overall within the grant process. So things like in-kind matches, like reduce or eliminate the permitting fees, or expedited permitting, access to common ground, things like that. But the biggest one would be a property tax property tax waiver, I guess. I don't know the language.
Abatement.
Well,
Abatement, yeah.
And so, I'm gonna interrupt a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
thanks.
which I'm gonna get in front of county council fairly quickly here, once we know all that. I'm talking to Kim, because he's on council. Nick Brewer, is aware of this as well. And, I might have him kind of champion that. But we still have to figure out the investment and then what the abatement would be. But it could be significant savings for them. So whereas, Lakeland is asking for several $1 million of investment, actual dollar investment, SURF is not now at this time. But those real savings on those tax abatement dollars, and I would certainly hope council would be in favor of that.
Yeah. It's a line item on a grant application. If we have property tax abatement, local in-kind services, that local match shows skin in the game is what the technical term is from IBO. But yeah, that really helps the scoring potential of this grant. Right now, what the investment looks like is about $19.1 million total for the project. And if anybody cares, it's 1.799 million feet of fiber put in the county.
When's your application need to be filed, Steve?
February 12th.
Okay.
Do you have
So-
an idea, once the infrastructure's in place, what it would cost for the homeowner to hook up, and then what the monthly fee would be?
Yeah, we have plans starting at $35 per month. That's an all-in price, so there's not gonna be fees on top of that. We have what we call the price lock for life, which if you sign up at our $65 a month package or a $35 a month package, that is your charge for the length of you having service with us. We also don't require contracts, so that's the other thing is you like our service, keep paying us. You don't like our service, cancel, and we will, don't have any contract.
What are those
Steve,
speeds?
oh, go ahead.
What are those speeds at 35 and 65?
35 is 50 meg, which was enough for a household of 4 people. And then 65 is our 500 meg package. In the rural areas, we plan on charging about $95 for a gig, and then $105 for 2 gig. And then we have a 5 and an 8 gig package, which seems, I don't know if anyone knows about broadband or not, but 8 gigabit is absolutely ridiculous. So, but people buy it, so.
I can see John getting
Yeah, that's just,
Steve, I have a question for you. You said if you have RMC on one side of you and you might be coming down the other side, is the price the same with RMC?
RMC would be in charge of their pricing structure, but the way we're looking at it from a somewhat technical side is we would wholesale back and forth. So if Kosciuszko County RMC built a 4-mile stretch, they would make that service available to us that we could buy and offer our customers, or vice versa. If we built it, we would make it available to Kosciuszko.
Because I'm that one up there that you got, Jill and I are up there pretty much the same area. But I have RMC right into my driveway, but it's on the other side of State Route 5, but it's on a pole right there. But I was just wondering what happens if you don't come down that way from the north or from the south, you don't get to that. I mean, am I forced to get on RMC?
Yeah, if we didn't have services out there, yeah, you would. There's not going to be a lot of competition at this point, probably for the next 10 years in these rural areas. So there will be, one provider. It's just that the density doesn't allow us to really put a lot of providers. Here in Columbia City, we have Mediacom, Brightspeed, Surf, T-Mobile, Frontier. So,
Okay.
sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
And with Sans strategy and Surf as well, we're number 3 in the state for underserved addresses. So thank you guys for that. So that puts us in a really great position. And I also think it really shows just how lacking our broadband infrastructure is in the county. So,
It's been a problem.
yep, I definitely appreciate you guys holding the events to help people sign up for the Indiana Connectivity Program that can't do it or aren't tech savvy. So
Sure.
that made a huge difference. So thank you
Yeah,
guys.
and, through the commissioners and the broadband task force, we hosted several events to get people to sign up, because it's not if you don't have broadband at home, it's not really easy to get on the internet and sign up for something. And 2, it's a state form, so it's not the most intuitive. So we have these events to help people kind of get over that hump and get signed up. And so in previous rounds, Whitley County would have 6 addresses available for ICP. After those events, we were in the 180, 211, things like that. So it really helps spur that growth.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I think next step for them is me getting Steve in front of council with a request, and I guess just to make the deadline for the 12th, we just need, we might not have the actual resolution, but we'll just need the council to vote that they would be in favor of tax abatement.
Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to invest until the state tells me how much they're going to.
And then sand strategy, so while the county's not paying for that anymore, I'm covering that out of my budget. I'm still working with them, working with SURF to figure out then what we do with Lakeland once we know where SURF's gonna go. So we haven't completely discounted them, but SURF is, like you heard Steve said, they're putting up this investment and they're gonna go after as many of these as they can get. And so to, Kim, for what we talked about last meeting, your neighbor who got that should really, and Steve probably sent it out, you can talk to him about the letter about signing up.
Okay.
Jill, would you think the school would be willing to do something too in terms of sending something home with kids for their parents to, I mean, I know it's a.
I don't know.
Well, I think the least they could do, and I think, I haven't done this yet, but I was gonna talk to like David Smith, the school board president, at least a letter of support, which would help your proposal.
That of course would.
Yeah,
go
definitely,
along.
we should promote it. I just don't know legally
Right,
Yeah.
right.
what we can do, but I'm sure we would help if we could.
And the commissioners are also writing a letter of support as well from the board.
Yeah, I know when I was at the EDC, can't remember who it was, maybe MetroNet, that we talked about a similar type deal. And I think that the commissioners approved a 10-year, 100% abatement on the entire system, like all the property associated with the routers and the cable and everything. It's a special, there's a special application for a utility abatement, and that would probably be in the files, but I was shocked when I came in and talked about it, and Jim Bayman was 100% in favor of it. That's how.
In regard to the Lakeland option as well, is that any wireless provider needs fiber to backhaul their towers. So, and we know the people at Lakeland, and work well with them, usually any local provider we do. So if there are areas that don't shake out because they're not awarded any grants through the VIII program, or that lack coverage, yeah, we would definitely work with them and all their traffic out for any towers that they would develop.
Well, thank you.
What is remind me, what's the current investment for the 2 rounds that are under construction and soon to be under construction?
I think we're at a total of probably $4 to $5 million. I'm sorry, I don't know right offhand, but we're doing several thousand addresses off of those.
Okay. Because I was wondering whether that might be, we've already talked about that and having the commission subsidize that or offer funding towards it. I was wondering whether that would be easier to submit funding for something already under construction that then could be applied to the grant round, if that makes sense.
It could potentially, yeah.
So offer that to the commission's consideration too.
Well, I mean, I think for this piece though, the timing's really important. So
Yeah.
we'd have-
Yeah, it'd be
Move that
working
to the
with
top
a
of the
commitment
pile.
or something,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know whether this applies in this situation because of everywhere it's going, but generally, doesn't council like a vote from the board on approving abatements or?
Yeah, but
This isn't really in the
this
TIF.
really isn't a RDC.
Okay.
The only, he's
I just didn't wanna
doing-
miss that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need a letter.
Okay.
Or a whatever you call it.
We used to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to.
Kim, do you think that would be useful?
I don't know if it'd be, I think having Steve come in and talk, and Dale talk to us would probably be good.
Could you
I
make
mean,
it to the
you would
February
know.
meeting? Could you make it to their February council meeting?
Well, they need the applications February 1. That's when it's due.
12.
12.
Yeah.
12.
Oh, 12, okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think
You could
we'll go.
need
Are
to
they
come.
on?
And
For everybody, by the way, for everybody else in my company, our deadline is February 5th. They have no idea, but that's just how I work things.
does the commission want to do its own letter of support, just a general letter?
It can't hurt. I think it can't hurt.
What if everyone is amenable to this, what may help is because the state rules and guidance is the state will only review one letter.
Oh.
So I can, if we had a letter of support that had commission, redevelopment commission, council, EDC, that could,
So I
there
know
could be an agreed language there.
in our last Zoom with Sand Strategies, we were gonna get as many as we could throughout the community, but now they're only gonna look at one letter
Yeah.
of support.
Yeah, I sent that to Luke and Zach a week or two ago.
Oh,
Sent
okay.
them an update on that, so.
Oh.
We can send as many as we want, but the state, the Indiana Broadband Office only wants to review one for real content. So,
Okay.
Make
Dale,
it
you
good,
gonna,
Dale.
Dale,
Make
you
it
gonna have
good.
something on that?
yeah.
Dale, you gonna write the letter or?
I've got a call this afternoon with Zach.
Okay.
Yeah, we've supplied some, some investment data, passing data, community involvement, those kind of specific details that they're invited to include. And these are also non-exclusive letters, so if the CEO of Brightspeed stops by later this afternoon, you can always write a letter.
Is Commission fine with that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's what we'll do. And she'll get you on the schedule for the council meeting?
On the 6th.
Yes.
Fourth.
Fourth.
February 4th.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you for
Steve.
your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Anything else on that, Andy? Or Andy? Dale?
No.
Sorry, that was a little blow, I'm sorry.
You apologizing to him or to me?
Well, we'll move on. I have asked Kay Gatton from the Treasurer's Office to come in and kind of give us an update on the tax money taken in and where redevelopment falls in, and so she thought she'd come and visit us. So thanks, Kay.
No problem. I am the custodian of 3 accounts for you. So you have a savings account, a checking account, and also a Series A account. Series A account, it currently holds $399,000 in it, $773. That's the account that you've been paying down. That account draws absolutely no interest whatsoever. Okay, it's part of a bond. Currently, the checking account has $921,000 in it, and the savings account is $10,180,000. The checking account doesn't draw interest either. It's a 0.010, and that's my question to you guys. In 2022, I earned $23,000 for all 3 of the accounts in interest. In 2023, it earned $185,506. In 2024, it was $300,569. And I'm just curious to why. I've just inherited, of course, the account, the checking account, if anybody can answer why I don't keep much money in there. When we have projects and stuff, I move things around because the savings account currently is earning 2.96%. Is there anything that anybody that's sat on the law or on this board that would be able to explain why that can't earn a higher interest rate?
Why is everybody looking at me? No, other than historically, I mean, it's been that way forever.
It's a non-bearing interest account, basically, is how it was set up. And
There are obviously legal parameters on what kind of things you can put your money in. But I do know I have governmental entities that buy CDs and like your savings sitting on $10 million, you could put some of that in a CD. I mean, I think I would consult if you want to explore higher interest opportunities and investments. I think Baker Tilly's your financial advisor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe that's worth a conversation with Baker Tilly about diversifying those to earn some better interest if that's what you're interested in.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think the last time you had a CD was, it was closed out in 2017. was one of the first things when we took over that happened.
I do know that, just anecdotally, the redevelopment authority, the RDA, they get large chunks of money, and they had money in a savings account that was, getting less than 2% and one of the bankers on the board said, just ask the bank for a higher interest rate, and now they have 4%. Yeah.
You're really good at that.
Yeah.
I am going, the banker that I deal with now, where the counselor's sitting, will be retiring in April, and I have a younger gentleman, and I would like to go in and.
Do you like our $10 million sitting in your account? Yes.
The only problem with that is there's a lot of state that if I pull anything out, I don't really want that on, that there's a lot that I have to do to follow that. But I didn't know if you guys want me to look at, I don't know where I stand because I'm just the custodian of those accounts. If you want me to invest, the county, including this 300,000, is going to be getting their financial report next Tuesday, and it's 2.1 million for
Yay.
everything for the year of 2024. I missed 3.5 of 2 year combined, so I'm a little upset about that, but we'll take 3.4 for 2 years.
I would think we'd want to get Baker Tilly involved in it, and maybe we could get him to come up and we could sit down and talk to him and
Okay.
see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I know it has to be public funds, but I don't know
Yeah.
redevelopment.
I don't remember who your contact is at Baker Tilly, but I'm sure I have an email somewhere with that person in there.
It's been so long, I can't remember either.
Yeah, I can track it down and maybe
Okay.
send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it worth paying Baker Tilly to, are we gonna end up in the same place?
I think their fee, honestly, we have so much money in savings, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have them look at it.
Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah,
If we could make a bunch of money in interest, it would pay for itself.
the last annual report that they did was, what, 40,000 for us?
Was that how much it was for
Yeah,
just
I was gonna say,
RDC?
when-
Just
when
RDC.
Baker Tilly was purchased by a different group. They doubled their rates overnight. So
feel like we didn't really pay
I would
that
just
much
want
for
to
the
be very
county.
specific with the request.
Maybe that's the thing to ask is for a proposal to do a investment strategy analysis and see what that would cost.
But Kay, I know Trevor, who's taking over for David, so take me to that meeting.
Okay.
Well, maybe you could find out the cost of that.
Well, Trevor's gonna be the new star
Dave.
Oh,
president.
okay.
But by the way, the RDA bank was also Star who gave them the 4% interest rate in savings. So
Good to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kay and
Good
I were also talking earlier, the amount that we keep in our checking account being 900,000 to $1 million. Does the checking account balance need to be at a certain? If we knock that down to 400,000 in the checking account and had another $500,000 in the savings account drawing interest, it's not very often that we have oh my gosh, we have to hurry up and write this $500,000 check.
Yeah, I think we could keep it even lower than that, because she has the ability to transfer
Right.
funds
Yeah.
into that when needed.
That's what I was thinking of, maybe at least getting another $500,000 or so into the savings that is interest bearing instead of having that checking account balance so high.
I know that obviously we have some bonds. There would be some reserve parameters in those, but it sounds like maybe those amounts are just kept in the savings account and not in a separate reserve account. Is that right? And maybe they're delineated on the books?
And I know that I let her know anytime we have big payments going out or anything, so she can make those transfers, but I'm not quite sure on all the bond requirements, what account they sit in or have to.
I'm sure on the book somewhere those are delineated, the reserves. But again, probably a good question for maybe Baker Tilly to look at. I'm
I
not
think
trying
the
to.
Redevelopment has worked with Matt Eckerly.
There you go.
That's his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can reach out to him if you would like me to and see, or get that to Dale, get his contact to Dale or whoever to.
Well, I think it'd be good to reach out, at least give us some ideas about
Yeah,
what we should do.
For that matter, it doesn't have to be
Right.
a written study like they normally do. We
Right.
just need somebody's opinion as to what we can do.
Guidance.
Okay, now tell us, since that steel mill deal, since so is our revenue's not gonna be as much as what it was last year, since they passed that. What's that gonna do? I mean, I know it's gonna shorten, you're not gonna have the money coming in, but do you see any other effects that could hurt us in any way?
As long as you don't spend more than what you're bringing in, no, I don't see it. I mean, no, I don't see that. I mean, when we do settlement, we put it all in one pot and then I break it out with what she gives me. I will let you all know though, at the end of 2024, all of the funds for redevelopment match the bank accounts for redevelopment. And that's-
All right.
Thank you.
After, what, 20 odd years?
So the $11 billion, 502,000, that is exactly what you have in your funds matching your bank accounts.
Well, good.
Perfect.
Good
That's
job.
great. Yeah. Anything else?
Anything else for Kay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kay, for doing that.
Yep.
Dale, I think you stepped out for a second, but Tiffany, Matt Eckerly was the
Oh.
bank utility contract.
Good.
Okay.
I don't hold it against him, Louis Dallas.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Who's this thing?
Well, I don't know, Commissioners, the commission want to handle the legal counsel rate, or we want to pass that, table it until,
December?
yeah. We have a legal service agreement. Has everybody had a chance to read it?
Yes.
Any discussion on that?
Andy, this matches what the proposed rates are for the commissioners, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't have a issue with the rates, but I think, you're not getting any younger, and I'm wondering if maybe going forward, if you could involve one of your senior associates a little more. I know you love us and you want to come and see us and all of that, but, is there an opportunity to,
Sure.
to,
And Zach, I think you've met Zach.
right,
Yeah.
and he was here last time.
Yep, and he works on a lot of stuff behind the
Okay.
scenes, and he'll be the guy that comes to meetings if I can't make it. But I got a lot of years left.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
kind of old, Andy.
Yeah.
You better find your replacement.
Yes,
Probably
I've
more than
noticed
we
the
do.
gray starting to come in around the beard though, so.
a decade plus more of work still to come.
He's got an artificial hip on it.
Yeah. I'm on
Exactly.
my current projection for retirement's 15 years from now, so
Yeah, isn't your son like 10?
13.
He's got a 13-year-old. He's got.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta
He's
get
like
it.
got one foot in the grave.
I'm still in my 40s. Not by much. But yes, Zach is involved a lot, and he'll still be the one that comes to meetings when I can't make it.
He looks like a baby. I know I say that all the time.
Yeah. He has 2 kids.
Anybody have anything else on this? If not, I'll open it up to have it approved. We need to vote on it.
Yep.
clearly.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. We approve the legal services agreement as presented.
Do we have a first? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any further discussion? There being none, all them in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed.
Thank you.
Okay, project updates. Nathan?
Don't think we have anything on the Niedermeyer property to update. It's cold out there, so we haven't pursued any more of the personal property actions. Getting anybody out there to take some of that stuff out, so. Brent, was there anything?
I've made contact with Hank and Mom. They're interested in coming out and making an offer, looking at the stuff to look at buying some of the stuff for them to resell. So that's at some point. Haven't heard anything back from 4-H or any of that yet. Either in the
No.
barn.
With the holidays, I'm thinking that the 4-H boards probably hasn't been too far into discussion, so I'll give them another month or so to get back with us on that.
I have a small update too on that. So we sent a lease to that farmer probably back in, I'd say November. Understandably, the farmer's used to a handshake and was taken back a little bit by, a several-page lease, and explained to him, well, it's a governmental entity now. It may be developed in the future. We have to prepare for those contingencies, and he gets that. So he had a lawyer look at it. They had some comments come back. So we're still talking about the lease, and as soon as I would think that hopefully by the next meeting I can bring you a draft to look at, but it's still in their hands.
Thank you.
And the billboard agreement was?
We terminated one of them,
Okay.
and the other one will be terminated next year. She did reach out to me and say, hey, we'd really like to keep that lease. Would the board consider, renewing it? And I said, I don't know. Make us an offer. And so she said she'd put something together.
I know that they paid us like $500, and it's the ones on 30 for like a month. It's like $1,000. So I know if they're only paying us $500 a year, like they're definitely getting the better end.
I agree. I think the determination was that it makes no sense to continue this lease for this amount of money.
$500, yeah.
So we couldn't cancel the other one until next year, but the one has been canceled. She wants to renew it, and I said, well, make us an offer. So as soon as I see an offer, I'll bring it to you.
Well, I think that's something we need to stay moving on. I don't want to see it sitting idle.
I agree, Ken.
And I
need to
think
keep moving forward.
We need to move forward, whether it's nothing but tear the house down, the buildings, leave the barn set. But we spend that kind of money and we don't do anything with it. I'm not in favor of that. I think we need to be aggressive with it. We need to get a sign out there stating that we have ground ready to build on. And I know I've talked to Mike and several of you here that my opinion on it, so.
I agree with you, Kim. We need to get some kind of advertisement out there. Even though we're not doing anything now, but the people pass by there all the time, and it needs to be advertised, I think.
Also, I think it would be helpful, because we already have the 2 appraisals. So because we did it when we bought it, so we can use those same appraisals. They're still valid to list it. And then the beauty of getting it listed too is that once it's listed for 45 days, and if somebody doesn't buy it at that price, you're then satisfied your statutory obligation, and then you can sell it for whatever you want. But before that, you can't sell it for less than the average of the 2 appraisals. So it'd be good to start that clock in case you want to work out a special deal with the developer in the future.
Yeah, that's good. We
I
need to
agree.
get it moving.
So you said I should make a motion now to get the property listed, and I make a motion now that we
Okay,
maybe have Dale talk to realtors about it.
okay.
Second the motion.
Got first and second. Any further discussion on that? All them in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed.
Mr. President, I'm gonna bring this up for discussion. We haven't found anybody that wants that barn. I'd like to discuss, you think the Amish would be interested in that barn, whether they tear it down and move it out and rebuild it, or they use it for their lumber and their sawmill? Do you think they would be interested in something like that?
They might be. They'd probably be closer to wanting it.
Well,
than
I
somebody
understand,
else.
but, you hate to see that kind of wood go to
Yeah.
waste. I mean, that's good wood out there in that barn.
I think we should like Nathan was saying, give 4-H another month, because I'd like to see it there before we offer it anywhere else, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
one more month.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, we need to, I know the weather's playing a big role right now, but when the weather warms up, we need to go through that house and get out what we want, because there's no reason why we can't tear that house down and get it out of there.
Agreed.
We've got some things that we have to, there's a well there that needs to be sealed up, but that's not a big problem. But the septic, I don't know where the septic's at out there. Scott, do you know where that septic tank, or it doesn't even have a septic tank?
Niedermeyer property.
Pardon?
Niedermeyer property.
Yeah.
You have to have an address. I'm sure we can find it.
Okay.
It only costs about a couple $100 to have it pumped out. Whoever's tearing down the house can like crush in the lid or just remove it altogether.
I'll get with you after the meeting.
Just some things that we could still be moving on and getting it ready.
Yeah,
so.
we need to keep pressing forward.
Okay, we'll move on. 100 South paving.
Last I talked with Brad, that's the primary consideration. He's still working on the design. 600 East is secondary to 100 South. So
Schrader. And I do have a question. I don't know. Schrader wanted to put solar panels up. Maybe this, I'm asking you because I think maybe you might know somebody. And they were turned down by Plan Commission?
Well, the ordinance and the setbacks made it prohibitive.
Okay.
And a company out of Illinois chose not to move forward with it.
Oh, okay. I had a lot of people jump me about how can RMC put one in if Schrader can't?
REMC has IURC regulation behind them because they're a public utility, and so public utilities are zoning exempt. The company out of Illinois was a third-party developer, and so they don't have that. What we're starting to hear rumblings of are third-party developers doing the development under the name of utilities, and we'll see whether that finds traction or not as a way to avoid zoning. So nothing for certain here, especially not on Schrader's property, but I could see that being attempted somewhere in the state soon.
Okay. Rogers Market.
I'm really surprised. I've submitted that on 2 more leads, one from the state, one from the partnership, and I will say the partnership leads, I don't know how real they are. But I don't have an answer, like it's priced wrong or anything like that. I just, I probably submitted that property on 4 or 5 different projects, a couple from the state, a couple local ones. And I know Rogers themselves had a couple of people they showed it to, so we're getting it in front of people. We just haven't had anybody say yeah.
Is there a sign out there that says like,
Are
they working with a company to help lease that?
Usually, I don't know. I don't think there is. I mean, there is on 100, but not like on 30 where you can see it. I should talk to Carl. Carl Behrens is the listing agent on that.
What company is he with, do you know?
B&D.
I do know there's been some activity as far as working construction stuff out there at that site. We had a call the other day for a gas pressure test. So I know that they're doing some improvements structurally to the building more than just being a shell with nothing. So they're making some progress there.
What hurts that, Andy, that building too small? Or Andy?
Still Dale.
Dale? You guys look the same.
You can apologize to me again.
Right. I will say on the last 3 I submitted, it would have to be expanded. So it's a little small.
It's a little small.
You know, and that's hard to just tell somebody what size building. That one was, I'm still glad it's there because we can submit it and we are, hopefully people are looking at it because they had already purchased the steel for that size of a building, many, many months before they started on it. That's why the size it is what it is. But if it was more in the 50 to 70, it'd probably have more looks.
Okay. We'll move back up since Brad's here. Brad, do you have any input on the paving or?
I don't know. The preliminary design is pretty much done. Now it's just figuring out a way to convince AutoCAD to put it on paper in a way that looks nice. And then I got distracted by some other work with deadlines coming up. So I should be able to get back to it here
Okay.
shortly.
Larwill, TIF?
Red Star is nearing completion of their first permit for their expansion. They're really close to finishing the drainage work, right, Brad? Up there?
Red Star?
Yeah.
It should be done. I haven't gone out to look at it in a while. I haven't seen a report from John Goetz in a while either. I
Well,
usually get updates.
Okay.
Let me chime in on that. So I talked to Scott Worsler yesterday, and they've invited this group after our next RDC to go out and take a tour. I mean, they have 80 people working there. They've blown through whatever the projections were because of how successful they've been, and the wishbone parent whatever in Warsaw's failed. And so a lot more work has gone out there. So it's just been wildly successful, none of which would have happened without that sewer project.
Yeah. So they're getting really close to finishing out their building permit for the expansion. And I think I mentioned it before, but if I haven't, they have a second building permit that's currently open for remodeling the expansion. So they're doing a clean room, I think it was, or something like that, installing a clean room in the addition. So a lot of work is still going on because of what Dale just said. So that's the only real thing that's happening.
So the tours after the next
Tours,
RDC.
I told them sometime between 10 and 10:30 on the 28th.
Okay.
And I'll coordinate more of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that Scott is back involved with the company. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really good thing that he is.
Yeah, it's good he's got back into it.
I would imagine though that when they're ready to close up their building, you remind them that they need to look for drainage, so give me a call or go.
Yeah, we'll work it out. That's really close. The de facto junkyard that's in downtown Larwill, Scott and I have been working, Scott, right? Have been working with the owner and her husband who, they actually gave us a timeline for getting that cleaned up. So that will, that is their deadline, their self-imposed deadline is the end of this month. Or the wife's deadline for the husband is the end of this month. So that'll, if that follows through, we'll have a nice clean area again in downtown Larwill. So.
Is the little eating place closed down, Scott, for good, or have you heard?
The old Bishop Post area?
Yeah.
I know that they were closed this year because of the lady's cancer and that she wasn't able to physically do the restaurant. They have not talked to us about whether they're gonna do it this year or not. I don't think they've gotten a permit. So,
Well, if you talk to him, you might tell him that John and I are waiting. We can't wait much longer.
We need a little action in downtown Larwill.
maybe you can form a partnership.
And Kim Reef, I saw, put the property on the northwest corner of 5 and 30th for sale, the one that he had started to do.
The ice cream shop or whatever?
Yes, that didn't get state permitting for health or for building permits and had several other issues with the process.
Maybe you saw the Propel study that said that ain't gonna be there.
So we do have that potential commercial property available right now.
Okay. Okay, miscellaneous matters. Anybody got anything on that? Okay, we'll move on to claims.
Got a couple here for you. Actually, 2 items, the second of which are several things because they're the bonds for the members.
The one for Rogers is basically a retroactive approval. It was due January 1 since we didn't have a December late meeting. That one's already been paid.
Do you know how long, when that lease expires?
I'll have to look. I think it's only a few more months, isn't it?
No, I mean.
It was 2 years to
I
start.
thought we started it in November of last, or no, has it been that? It was only a 24-month lease.
Right.
I'll have
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
look back.
it's got a ways
Yeah.
longer to go.
Okay, it does.
I think
Okay.
it's got through this November.
Okay.
I guess one item, we do have oaths of office for you guys to sign as well after the meeting.
Has everybody been reappointed by the appropriate body?
They have.
Okay.
First invoice is the Rogers Company rent invoice for January, $12,636. And the second invoice is the Hill Group, and it contains the 5 bond renewals for the 5 members of $100 each. So that would be a total of $500.
I'd move that we approve the 2 claims.
Okay, we have a first, and we have a second?
Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All of them opposed, the same. Where's the proper place to sign it?
You take it to Cindy and she'll show you where to sign it.
Oh,
Fill out
okay.
the rest, and then you have to
Okay.
bring it in to record.
We need to sign off these two, don't we?
Yes. Is it
Just me. yeah.
on the Andy's agreement? Is it just on this one?
Looks like it, yeah.
Sorry, I haven't seen it.
Dale, are you in your office today?
I most certainly am.
Okay. I'm gonna come bother you in a minute.
Good. So I can use more coffee. Frank and I kind of drank most of it.
Shocker.
I'll go to the coffee shop when we're out of town. Unless you're gonna make me a latte.
No. I don't do that.
Yeah.
That was beyond use.
5 Lakes is open up the street,
What's 5 Lakes?
coffee place.
Okay.
It
Always
was
good.
not in the
Writing or
press.
what?
I don't know. It was
Brew,
on-
I was going to Brewha
Okay.
and stayed loyal.
Starbucks just came out with these little Cuban cortadas, and they're delicious. You should go.
What's
Can
that?
he shop them all?
I'm shopping local.
I
I'm trying to contribute to the community.
I try to. I do. But
Are Starbucks individually owned? Are they a franchise or are they own corporate? Does anybody know
I think
that?
it's all corporate, isn't it? I don't know.
No, I think this one is more of a franchise group.
Okay.
There you go, local.
5 Lakes is based out of Sturgis, Michigan, so they're more local. But not quite as much as Brewha.
Okay,
Okay,
on
we got-
minutes.
Yeah, we got previous minutes to approve. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
There is a typo in the billboard lease agreement, the 3rd line near the end.
Yep.
It's just MA period. I assume that was supposed to be made.
Yep, I've got it corrected already on mine.
I move that the minutes of the December 10th meeting be approved with the noted correction.
Second.
Okay, first and second, any further discussion? There being none, all them in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed. Okay. Jill, you have anything new?
I do not.
Anybody else out there? Steve? Andy?
Nope.
No, sir.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nothing further.
I have nothing. Nathan?
Nope, just signatures for you guys.
Okay. Then we're adjourned.